I'd like to call to order the Townsend Conservation Commission Wednesday, June 28th meeting at 7:04 p.m. Can I have a roll call, please?
Pat Jamalo here.
Colby Streeter here.
James Gates.
James DeRoy, present.
I'm going to keep my hat on during this meeting because I've got Howard hat hair. This meeting is being recorded. Is anyone else recording? Chairman's additions and deletions. There was something that I can't remember. Sorry, man. Chair report. Jessica will cover everything. Review and approve meeting minutes from May 10th, 2023. Has everyone had a chance to review?
Yes, I
Yes.
have that.
Jimmy, you weren't.
I was just gonna say, I think that was just before I got on, so I cannot say I did or did not.
Any changes? What? And
Not for me.
so we need a motion and a second, please.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from 5/10/2023.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Pat Jamalo, yes.
James Gates, yes. Sorry, Goldie.
Colby Streeter, yes, it's okay.
Stan.
Um, 1-6 agents report. Hi, Jessica.
Hey, I have new headphones. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Dates cover June 12th to June 23rd. Building permit, interdepartmental signatures for 10 Bow Street and 21 Wheeler Road. We had no referrals. Board of Health interdepartmental signature was done for 98 West Meadow Road. The completed approvals we had during that period were an emergency certificate for Old Meeting House Road, a beaver dam removal. I issued that on 6/9, and then you guys ratified it at the last meeting on 6/14. Another emergency certificate for Old Meeting House Road for a culvert replacement that was issued on 6/12 and ratified 6/14. We issued the certificate of compliance for 5 Madison Ave, 308-0696, issued June 16th. Sorry. And we issued the COC for Adams Dam, 308-0684, issued on 6/16 as well. We had some applications come in, an RDA for 31 Elm Circle. The site visit was June 21st. RDA for 187 Wallace Hill Road, site visit June 21st. We have an NOI in for 158 Main Street. Site visit was also June 21st. We also have an NOI in for 66 Bayberry Hill Road. The hearing will be on July 12th for that. And we recently got an NOI in for 56 Bayberry Hill Road. The hearing will be on July 26th for that. Miscellaneous, the enforcement order for 158 Main Street, compliance and inspections ongoing. We had the invasive species workshop event for Wild and Scenic Grant. That was on June 16th, and that was awesome. Just doing some follow-up communications with the resident from 100 Fitchburg Road for the possible violation of filling a potential pond. And then not exactly conservation agent, but coordination and comment collection for the open space and rec plan. That is ongoing. So that's what I had.
Where do we stand at 100 Fitchburg Road? Is he?
I followed up with him after our last meeting, just with a summary of what was discussed. I told him to reach out to me once he had a PW, a professional wetland scientist hired, but he didn't. So I did follow up. I think I followed up, but if not, I'll check again. But I think the goal was to have them present something on at the July 12th meeting. And if not, bump it to the July 26th meeting, but we'll see.
Big thought.
What are the expectations of the meeting for 100 Fitchburg? That he has a wetland scientist or?
I think it was a professional wetland scientist hired to try to do some historical research of the water feature.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Were you able to find a definitive picture or information that is and has been there for any amount of time?
Well, that's why the professional wetland scientist,
He's gonna make
he's gonna make the case,
that has been there.
or wasn't there.
Okay, okay. Good enough. I didn't know we had that ability to go that distance to define if it has been there, or you're gonna do it through GIS or some other means of.
There was too much vegetation, or. Right, Jessica, am I interpreting or remembering correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, it looks like that pond went in sometime in the I think it was between 1985 and 1995, and that's the oldest aerial photography that I could find. We looked upstream and downstream of where said pond was for any hydrologic connections. Downstream, there was all that jewelweed, which is a pretty favorable wetland plant. So, I mean, I just exhausted my options trying to figure it out. So, burden of proof is on the applicant at that point.
Did you see anything that gave you the idea it could have been a vernal pool? Was there any staining of any root areas? Was there any washout?
It was 50 feet of fill. That's why.
I gotcha.
And
So-
you can't even auger it.
Nope. Okay. I'm up to speed now. Thanks, Jessica.
Yep, no problem.
You mind giving we have a couple minutes. Do you mind giving a little more in-depth, update on Old Meeting House? Regarding,
So okay, yes. So as far as I know, you might even know more, but as far as I know, they found 3 beavers in the 2 collapsed culverts under Old Meeting House Road, and they did trap those successfully.
well, that's on top of the other ones they already got, I think.
They found more. Oh my gosh. Infestation. And then the highway wanted to, while they had lifted up the steel plate over the driveway crossing, they had wanted to replace, because there's a ton of water flowing through there, they wanted to put in 3 36-inch culverts. Currently, there's 2 collapsed ones. They wanted to put in 3, which I permitted to do, and you guys ratified. But then some Mass Wildlife folks have contacted me saying that they're only allowed to do what is necessary to abate the emergency. So I think that means to just replace the 2 culverts, nothing more. So if they want to go above and beyond, then they need to do a filing with NHESP.
I have the email pulled up, Jessica.
What size are the existing section of
I have
36?
no idea.
I think it's 2 36s right now,
Okay.
but they're just they're trashed. So.
Tim McGuire, Endangered Species Review Biologist, Mass Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, in an email. He asked about the emergency certification on the agenda, and he wrote, was this written or within priority habitat? If so, our office will have to review that as well to confirm that work done was only to abate the emergency. We recommended that Jim contact the fire chief and ask for a letter.
Well, it's convenient that you have that steel plate to be able to check the culverts like that. That's,
Well, I think the road washed out, so that's what they had to do. So it's like a super Band-Aid fix. It's not, it's a huge safety issue, and now they just want to delay it. So
doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
Put another 36 inch is not gonna increase any water flow in a
So-
detrimental manner. What's the problem?
The.
What's the problem? Oh my word, okay.
It's gonna be a common theme tonight. Just wait and see. So.
They look at the world with their blinders on.
I gotta get some new
I just have to get
glasses.
it going.
That just,
Yeah, so,
So anyway, so I have to, once I get that letter from, with the human safety factor, the obvious factor outlined, we will probably approach that with the highway department and take it back to NHESP or somebody at Mass Wildlife to try to get their blessing.
and I'm sure Jimmy will be more than available to help.
we will help them any way possible,
Absolutely.
so.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I think putting, 3 culverts instead of 2, just in general, allows for even more aquatic passage opportunities. So,
They were gonna put the beaver guards, whatever.
Deceivers, they're gonna, which they should. If they found the beavers in those old culverts, which that's usually what they do, they did the same thing in Witchbrook on South Road and plugged it right out. So,
All right, so it's 17. Thank you, Jessica.
yep.
So, notice of intent, DEP, we do not have the DEP number yet, correct?
Correct.
TWB for 2023-150 applicant Terrence McGee, location 158 Main Street, project status. Proposed project is for sedimentation removal from wetlands, the measures to address remediation and stabilization of the site. A motion and a second to open the hearing now.
Yep, I'll make a motion. Do you want them to come up and sign first?
If you don't mind.
If you could quickly look at the abutter notifications too, James, just to make sure they match up. I don't think they brought them in yet.
You too, and everyone else has.
Got my sign?
Oh,
It's right there.
Here, you can do this when you're ready.
And then Matt, are we supposed to put names of Zoom participants on that sign-in sheet too?
We'll be on the recording.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, just if people, before they speak on Zoom, if they can just state their full name and then I can write it down. I can read the legal notice too while you're looking at the abutter notifications, James.
Perfect.
Do you want me to
Okay.
open it first? Or
You want to
make a
open it
motion?
first, Matt, or legal notice first?
You can open it first.
All right. Make a motion to open the hearing for the notice of intent of TWB number 2023.
Linda, before you guys get too
150.
comfortable, can you just sign in, please? Thank you.
Applicant Terrence McGee, 158 Main Street.
We need a second.
I need a second from someone.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Pat Gemolo, yes.
Holy Streeter, yes.
James Gates, yes.
James Drawing, yes.
Okay. Pursuant to the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act and the Townsend Wetlands Bylaw, the Townsend Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, June 28th, 2023 at approximately 7:15 p.m. The hearing will be held virtually via Zoom meeting and in person at Town Hall on a notice of intent filed with the Conservation Commission by Terrence McGee. The property is located at 158 Main Street, Assessors Map 26, Parcel 5. The proposed project involves a cleanup, repair, and revegetation of a previously disturbed swale, followed by the restoration of the natural runoff conditions. This project will take place within a bordering vegetated wetland. Parties wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to this application may do so at the meeting or in writing prior to the meeting. Copies of this application are available for review at Town Hall during business hours.
Thank you, Matt.
Jimmy, you want me to finish those?
That's fine. Cause there's like 3 mass wildlife. And, Jessica, you probably want screen sharing to pull up stuff.
Okay, yeah, Hartley, can I have screen share permission, please?
All set.
Thank you.
Dan Bill is representing Dr. McGee. Jessica, would you put up sheet 1 of the plan set? Thank you. So as everybody knows, there's been an erosion problem here with water coming from Main Street and from the abutting property. It's created a channelized flow that's creating a lot of sediment that's flowing down. It's going under the rail trail and across into the woods on the other side. What we've done an emergency mitigation back in the winter to slow that water down and stop it from going off the site as fast as it was. And now we've come up with a formal plan under the NOI to fix this problem and restore it. So what we're proposing is, can you pan up a little bit, Jessica? Bring the plan, no, the other way.
I never know what to do with that.
I don't know. So down at the bottom adjacent to the rail trail, there was a berm there that got broken through. But we're proposing to restore that berm and revegetate it and create a shallow basin at the bottom. That would be the first step. Then we would work uphill with a pipe that would be put in the swale that's eroded with stone around it, wrapped in filter fabric, backfilled all the way up to adjacent to Dr. Suresa's property with a catch basin that would be initially at the existing grade so that the water would go into the catch basin, down the pipe and into that basin at the bottom to enable that to be dry enough to be restored. So the vegetation could take hold and not wash out. And then once that was stable, the catch basin grade would be raised up to a level that would only take water in an extreme situation. What back up for a second. Jessica, I did reach out to endangered species today, but I didn't hear back.
Okay.
So, and that's another wrinkle that they're gonna want to review this.
Approach that.
What, I have a thought that we still have the enforcement order, that maybe under the enforcement order, we could build that berm down the bottom and that basin. And get, that way that would stop the water from going off-site. That's the biggest thing I think that we have to accomplish first.
There's 2 berms that were broken through, as I saw.
Yeah, two spots, yeah.
One that's further down, which coincides with another culvert that's down there.
Yeah,
Both of them are inundated right now with silt and are really not flowing water, correct?
that they are today,
So I think this should fall under the enforcement
yeah,
to move this forward.
yeah.
If we sit there and put ourselves in the position where we're waiting for Fish and Game to come down to a species impact or a turtle overview, we're only gonna go back with this. And we don't have
I
the
agree.
time to.
Yeah,
That's all. That's the only thing
right.
that I find concerning.
And on the sidewalk, you guys asked if the contractor could be here, and Jim Latanzi, who's gonna do this work, is here. So he can probably answer some questions that you might have from the construction perspective. And Dr. Charest is here. I talked to her today and she has some questions for the commission, but we talked about taking that, connecting that pipe that comes out from under her parking lot essentially and connecting that to this drain line too. And then
You're
restoring
referring
that
to
area.
the cap.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the culvert that's capped, with that
Yeah.
little black thing.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, we've kicked this around a little bit, but you weren't here for any of it until now. So if you have any questions or I can answer anything or Jim can answer any questions, we're here to answer those.
Jessica, do you mind sharing some of the pictures from our site walk? We have not had time to get down there since this weekend's heavy rains and Monday's heavy rains.
Recent pictures, are you talking, she just did on Monday or Tuesday?
No, she did the last one, but on the site walk.
Okay, okay. Because I can assure you, since these couple of 3 or 4 days of this heavy
Joan, do
rain,
you have any?
things have changed.
No, well, I went down there earlier in the week, I didn't really see much increase. I didn't notice a big change. It looked to me like the water was running clear, but
Hey, Matt, do you mind bringing up,
I'm not an expert.
the pictures?
Yeah, I would, but Jessica's currently sharing her screen. I don't know.
Sorry, hold on. I'm back.
Oh.
I had to do a binky replacement.
Sorry.
Sorry, pictures of what? Do we have
think
a
the mo-
specific picture that you want, you guys?
No, just from the site visit. Or, yeah, the site visit, last Wednesday.
All right. I'll go to the next one. Okay, so that's looking up the channel toward 162 Main. That is standing on top of the upstream catch basin, looking downstream.
Mean check dam.
Yes, thank you. So there's about 1.5 feet maybe of erosion happening right there. That I think is just showing how much groundwater is sourcing this. Some more wetland. I took a lot of pictures. Here is an image of the pipe on the abutting property. So it is one of the bigger sources of hydrology for this feature. This one
Yeah,
just shows.
Past
Oh,
the-
go ahead. What?
That is uphill past the pipe.
Um,
Kind of adjacent to it.
yeah, I think I probably just like sidestepped over. But it's just going to show that like the pipe discharge is not the only source. Like it's a huge, broad groundwater source wetland up there too.
Do you have any pictures of the other direction?
Looking up,
Yeah. Nope.
probably not. We started working our way down here.
Can you zoom in just downstream of the check dam? Just so people can see it. Thank you.
James, and just a question, how do we view that culvert that is completely capped with no water flowing through it?
Well, water was flowing around the cap.
Water was flowing all the way down 50 feet to the right side of that culvert too, even prior to that. So this hydrology coming over 119 through that whole strip.
Yep.
Regardless of the water flowing through that culvert, this is the amount of water we're getting coming down through there.
Right. So there needs to be a solution, a design that best can sort of capture the more highly erosive flows of water.
And that's what we're trying to do, is capture that more channelized flow. Because the flow that's coming off 119 is flowing through all that grass, so it's not really causing any erosion.
Correct.
And get the water that's causing that channelized flow into that pipe and get that, so we can get that at least dry enough so that it can be loaned, stabilized with
Get that
mats
under
and
control.
seeded. And then restore the flow to what it was.
Understood.
You can keep going with the pictures, just.
Okay, so that's just about halfway down, just all the sediment. So the slope starts to get a little more gradual down here. So once you don't have such a steep slope to keep racing the water through, sediment starts to deposit. It's more. And things have definitely started to channelize more through here. So here's the lower check dam. You can see how much sediment is flowing in. But to that effect, it's so full of sediment that any heavy rain like today is just gonna wash right over the edge and not even catch it.
And it had started to go around it.
Yeah, you can see sort of along I don't even know where my mouse is. Along the bottom side here that it's sort of breached already.
But it did serve its purpose well for the amount of time it lasted.
Yeah.
And yeah, you could see at the hay bale was silted up too, and it was going around it.
Here, I'm sorry, I'll go back. Yeah, I guess you can see around.
You can keep going.
So a little bit more cutting at the bottom. A lot of deposition because it's quite flat. So a lot of hay bales through here, but yeah, they're just all silted up. So stuff's just sort of plowing around how it can get there. So that's on the other side of the rail trail. And then back upstream at the rail trail.
So, can I, Mr. Davis, I can speak for a moment.
Go on.
Can we back up one picture there, Jessica, please? What I'm seeing, so I'm the contractor that's done some of this mitigation work.
Can you introduce
sorry.
yourself? No, just so that for the whole.
Yes, Jim Latanzi, I own Hollis Hills Farm. I'm located in Fitchburg and Lunenburg, Massachusetts. I'm also an excavating contractor. I specialize in agricultural work. This sort of work is generally in my wheelhouse. We do a lot of drainage systems. We do a lot for other farmers in putting in irrigation work, not so much of a need this year. But I have a lot of experience in erosion control measures, and trying to help fix situations like this. What I'm seeing in the pictures here, the channelizing that we have through this field, clearly it happened starting last fall. Any of the work that we've done, and I'm the one who put the check dams in, and I added more hay bales to help try to slow this water flow down. And the more check dams that we have in, we can see that we've been able to get all that silt. We've retained a lot of it on property. This picture here, which is where you're saying across the rail trail, I'm not seeing anywhere near the same sediment deposits that we have been able to maintain on the property itself.
So Terry has maintained them by hand.
To which I'm,
So it has worked.
so I guess I wanted to point that out. That is my point. A lot of the silt that we're seeing has stayed on the property. Now, clearly there were some missteps in the first place with the method, and I'm looking at what Engineer Dillis has put together. And that is a design that I voiced my opinion on, because I have done miles of this type of drainage through farms that are existing, where Dr. McGee's farm is an existing farm. I have actually done his lime and fertilizer work for the last 8 or 10 years on the property. So I'm very familiar with it. I did not do the work clearly of trying to clean up that swale. I would have chosen a little bit of a different method And I understand how we got to where we're at. At this point going forwards, my belief is that what Mr. Dillis has put together is a fantastic plan. Because what we're looking at is we're creating a detention basin at the bottom that can be maintained. It's a great place to hold back any sediment. It's gonna be a bigger area where, just like those check dams work, they hold it back, the water back, it gives it an opportunity to settle out. What we're seeing is when we have heavy rain events like we're having now, in a particularly wet summer already, is it's continued channelizing. When you don't have a way to slow the water down, that's when we run the risk of soil migration. It's my opinion that a stone and pipe and fabric channel is going to allow for a higher volume of water to travel through that location in a safe manner where we're not gonna be having any of that sediment that's gonna come downstream. So as soon as we can get after the work, and of course, it's been something we've been trying to do, but again, we're facing a particularly wet spring in a wet area, you're at risk for creating more damage in the process. Right now, we're seeing a fair bit of vegetation where there wasn't last fall and last winter. So I'm pleased to see the current growth. But the goal is that we would put that basin in and work on that channel itself, the stone pipe, and give that water a safe way to travel down. And when water percolates through stone, it moves at a significantly slower pace than if you have existing channelized. I mean, really, sadly, that happened really quick. You got a brook and that water keeps on moving. But if we can slow it down by having it in a bed of stone up the entire length of that property, it only makes the most sense to me that that's gonna be a method to slow the water down, give it a place to settle before it then enters into the wetland across the rail trail. I'm familiar with the property enough that I know that there are a few, I would call them fingers, where there tend to be wet spots that are coming up that swale. In my experience, what I do in my own fields and what I've done for other farmers is that we would then put a Y into that pipe. We would split that off and do another kind of a finger.
I gotta stop you there, Jim.
There,
because
yep,
We're just
sorry.
talking about what's,
What here, but again,
because we can't drain wetlands. So,
never mind. the
but
finger.
we did
Move
walk it.
the water safely through in a
So let's go in order. Pat, do you have any thoughts on what we've talked about so far?
Oh, I mean, I don't know, I mean. Or it's raining and everything else, not be able to get to it and just more water. I don't know, I think we still try to work in the rain and try to start solving some of it.
Well,
Yeah, I have a couple questions, actually. In the interest of this being effective, the system, it's obvious that there's material coming off that hillside, but the upstream of there, is there much material coming through the water from that pipe or?
Not really, it doesn't really, that's where that pipe is relatively flat. It really gets eroded when the grade gets steeper. There is some sediment up there, but I think that's because that ground was disturbed. So I think if we could connect that pipe into the pipe we're proposing and regrade and stabilize and revegetate that would be the ideal situation.
so you don't want any distance between the two pipes. You would just wanna,
If
because the way Jim explained it, if some of it went into the stone, some of it went into the pipe, it would slow it down.
Dr. Suresh was amenable, I propose connecting the end of that corrugated metal pipe into that catch basin. With the same thing we're proposing.
Yeah, 12-inch ADL.
And then regrade that and vegetate that area. So it's all, so there's nothing, there's no exposed ground anywhere.
So if you connected the pipes, would you keep the beehive?
I think so, just as an emergency.
Keep the one,
The beehive
grade.
rate.
But because that's, Jim, that's gonna be up above the existing grade. Just so in the event of
every W.
some big water event again, we don't have this happen again. Because it could take a while for that to revegetate and the roots get in there. Could be several years before it really gets a strong root bed that if it got heavy flow wouldn't erode. So I think it's prudent to have somewhere for the water to go in an event like that.
What else? Just so I understand clearly too, the pipe that you're putting in, is that perforated or is it
No,
solid
solid.
pipe? All right.
Question. The, now where the pipe where all the water was coming from, how is that gonna be solved?
Well,
It's going to be
if everybody can come to an agreement, we'll do what I just suggested. We'll connect that pipe to the pipe that we're gonna install, but if the two doctors can't agree, then we can only work on the property that we can work with. So that was the reason to have the catch basin grade lower at first, so it wouldn't block any water on Dr. Sures's property and cause her a problem
Mhm.
with flooding. So that's why we have that design the way
Oh,
we
I
have it
understand
designed.
that, okay. Yeah.
But ideally, connecting those two, that pipe would be the best solution.
Was there any consideration given to, this is beautifully done, by the way, the system, it's intricate. But was there any consideration to do more of a natural system to rehabilitate it as a stream?
Well, it wasn't
That's the
really-
goal. Once the pipe, when the pipe is in and we can get some of the surface flow off of there temporarily, then that'll be revegetated, restored with
And the
appropriate
beehive will
seed
be-
mix. And the beehive will
Yeah, I get it.
come up and then the water won't go into the pipe.
Well,
It'll
but it
go-
will go into the pipe that's gonna be connected to the pipe.
That pipe we have, yes, that some of it will. The water that's coming out of that CMP,
Oh, well,
well, all that water will, yeah.
Jessica, do you mind going back to one of the first pictures that showed the larger rocks in the swale?
But you don't think a system where it just slows it down on the hill would fully be effective?
If we didn't have the erosion in the channel that we have now, maybe, but I don't think you could get that revegetated and stable enough that it wouldn't just keep happening.
Yeah, so. Back before I was coming. There's a lot of rocks in here.
Yeah.
And. This property used to be a cornfield back in the 40s and 50s and I think even into the 60s.
You're that old?
No, my father-in-law told me all about it. But I've been told that the soil in there was lined with rocks. Now, you can see all the rocks in there. And it's eroded all of the organics down to the subsoil. And the subsoil, the sandy, silty stuff that's left is what the subsoil is in this area. Which it's hard clay sand. It does have ledge close to the surface. But you can see that over the years, the organics that built up from newer and this and that and sand from 119, it got filled and now that the pipe was opened up. That's what caused that wash. Yeah. Jim, your turn. Do you have anything to ask? In terms of questions?
I guess some of my question's gonna be, you want to run 12-inch culvert all the way down from the top, connecting from that culvert, all the way down to that bottom swale that was broken.
About 100 feet above that, yeah, we're pretty base.
So we're looking at roughly,
It's about 5
Riprap.
I maybe paced off a little bit more.
I don't know if it's.
And what's the longevity of that culvert lasting in there? Has anybody taken the time to go over to the other side of 119, see really where some of that water source is coming from? So we understand what we're up against, which is coming across the
Where
road.
that other, yeah, I've looked up there,
That to me is
I can't.
has a determining factor in this.
I can't tell where it's coming from.
So how do we
So,
really prudently resolve that problem?
well, I think that's contributing to the erosion,
Correct.
but the channelized flow comes from the metal pipe. If we can get that settled down, that flow from 119 is gonna continue where it goes now, overland, and the grass and the vegetation that's there is gonna slow it down.
Yeah.
We're not gonna find where that's coming and redirect it or anything, we wouldn't want to.
Can't.
So, but I think we have to get the erosion part under control, and this is the best way that I've come up with to do it. And then
Starting
it
at the
can get,
bottom and doing that?
start at the bottom of what you're there. I don't think, Jim, can you maybe answer how long do you think it would take to lay that pipe?
Well, the trench is already there.
True.
Yeah.
It's,
So we're gonna square the trench up a little bit and clean it up. I mean, you're looking at a couple of days
Yeah.
to
no,
do
not
that.
a huge
It's
amount
not,
of
not
time.
a long period of time, but the trouble we've been having is that we haven't had a 3-day stretch of weather or sun for a month now.
and you're not gonna be able to get in there with a cracked piece of equipment necessarily either.
The reason I haven't pushed to try and get going earlier is I don't wanna do more damage while we're in there. We've got pretty good vegetation on both sides.
Right.
Yes, there's an existing channelized section, but it doesn't seem to me to be getting a whole lot worse because the current vegetation, it doesn't, I'm not monitoring like you folks are.
Right.
But again, from what I'm seeing and what I've seen, it appears that we need to get it done, but if we have the current forecast, I would not want to tackle that. That to me is opening yourself up for a lot more liability. We disturb a whole bunch trying to get in there to work and we get a big rainstorm. You can't stop it.
It's a,
So, I think it's important that we go as fast as we can, but we need to do so prudently.
That's why I'm thinking that maybe if we could get that bottom section done under the enforcement order, when the forecast is a week for it to be dry, you could get in there and do that, and then we can tackle the rest of it as it comes, because that will stop the water from going off the property.
off the property over in there, and obviously the culverts are gonna need to get cleaned,
Yeah.
all the right and everything, so.
There's a lot of plan to restore that swale along the rail trail and remove the sediment from the DCR, what, Fish and Wildlife, whoever owns that. It's one of them.
DCR,
DC.
No. Not wildlife.
it's Mount Wildlife, okay.
Is the culvert?
In the,
Yeah, that's.
No, it's DCR land to the south.
I thought it was DCR.
if we can get that road built and
Yeah, it is.
keep the water on site, in the period of time, then we can deal with the endangered species people too.
Correct, because their national heritage is on this,
Right,
so it's inevitable.
right. So we'll have to, we got a letter back from them. They don't want anything that's not ordinary for them. What they're asking for isn't out of the ordinary.
No,
But in these circumstances though,
Yeah, but I've got a call into I don't know that review biologist, but I have a call into her. So,
but it would probably be in your favor or our favor to work under the enforcement so that we can move on it.
so you can keep moving ahead,
Possible.
right?
Because the longer we hesitate,
well, the
we all
more,
know it's just gonna
the
get
more
worse.
stipulations we put on this, because of comments from National Heritage, which we don't even have DEP's comments. But yeah, this is gonna, which the can and cause more damage.
Right, because without a DP number, we have to continue. So
Right.
we're looking at least 2 more weeks here before.
Are they slow with coming up with DEP numbers?
Usually about 4 weeks.
Yeah, so we'll get it tomorrow.
National Heritage is about 6, but they were
Yeah,
3.
right, so go figure. But that's why I'm asking that if some of this could be done under the enforcement order, I think it would be to everybody's benefit.
No, the way we would choose to do it, but I mean, that we, somebody are being dictated to move in that direction, and it would be in everybody's favor. The longer we wait, today it got worse. Tomorrow it's gonna get even worse. Just with the weather and the amount of sediment that's built up, and like you said, in that rock swale, it's probably already creeping over.
Yeah, Jessica, do you have any pictures of the actual trail or maybe some that I had sent you? From a week and a half ago? I think it was,
And while she's looking, let me ask one more quick question there. Is that sufficient at the bottom of the pipe? To slow it and not cause any more erosion at the bottom?
Yeah, because it flattens out there.
It does?
When it comes, it's very flat at the bottom there.
Okay.
I have a ruler to tell you what size it is, so.
Okay.
It's like 15 feet or so. Might be in the details in the next page.
If that pipe was much steeper at that point, you'd do something different.
Do you have a picture of the trail itself?
Okay.
That's the closest one I have. Is it
So-
not good enough? I can look at others. I just wasn't sure if this was gonna get your point across.
It should. Before we go much further, these hay bales need to get removed and replaced before we have a washout on the trail. The water did breach and run over the trail at some point a week and a half ago. You can tell by a big puddle. And there were fresh hay bales added, but the old hay bales that were silted, and if you go to the picture of the south side of the rail trail that we took on our walk, you can see one of the hay bales that's silted and grown grass now. But part of the maintenance, so the upper right corner. You know.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
It's growing grass. It's just, the hay bales need to get removed and replaced. I understand some sediment will move, but it's better than breaching, you know, and causing further damage, but all the hay bales in this area need to be removed and replaced and staked.
I'm a little bit nervous and treatment.
But they were added on top of the ones that were there and silted.
And part of the side of it, they came around the edge and I put them around, like Jessica asked, and put them so that it can't go around the side of it. What about when you put the basin in there, that's gonna stop all that anyway.
It will, but if we have heavy rains, the basin will stop it, but it's gonna take, what do you think, Jim? You're gonna have to generate material from somewhere, and I haven't measured it, I don't
I
know.
would assume it's a few day project, it's not a one day, that's for sure.
Either way, it's a good practice to remove these hay bales and replace them. And down the road, we can look at replacing with wattle. But right now, the hay bales need to be removed and replaced, regardless of when the berm in the basin is put in. So I almost think it's gonna be difficult to get down there to do that.
It was difficult to walk. It was so wet.
Yeah.
Stan, Jimmy, your plan is to start at the bottom.
Mhm.
First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna close the.
Yeah.
Make those, re-establish those berms.
Mhm.
If you're gonna start at the bottom, start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Pull all the bales out, remove the silt, secure the culverts, get them cleaned out, put silt fencing in for the time being and bale it. And I would almost not even bother putting the bales back in there. Start right now. Get in there where
It's just a safety.
oh, no, I totally agree, but once that berm's been reestablished, go in there, remove the bales, start the job there. If you put bales in there, they're gonna be compromised and no one.
But what's
No
there
other
needs to
thing.
get removed? The existing
When
bales.
those bales are sold, there's nothing easy to remove a bale like that,
Nope.
nothing whatsoever.
You gotta
To me,
dig it
it's
out.
just futile. You're throwing water against the tide.
But right now, the water's going around some of those bales.
I was down the other day and I didn't see that.
And, I mean, to me, like 6 8 bills, 8 bills, and
Right.
it's a minimal project. I have no problem with it.
It's a one-ton load,
Yeah.
pay bills. They just need to get,
No problem.
in the normal project though, Jim, once that all silts up, you take it out and put a new one in, knowing that it's easier to do that than,
Right, that's not a big task.
no, but it's part of the enforcement.
Right.
So I want to just start with that. We have a butters here. Terry, I will, if you don't mind, I'll save you for last. But Dr. Suresh is here. She's the dentist office. I don't know if you want to say anything or
Yes.
ask.
Yes, I do have a few concerns. The only thing that, I am completely open to working with, the engineer. I am okay with that. I want to do that, and that I've always been open to do that. But the only concern I have is that, and I spoke to Engineer Tennis about this morning, that I don't see myself being represented by him. So I spoke to my lawyer. I had to get a lawyer because I got some legal notices. So I had to get a lawyer. So I have a lawyer. And I spoke to my lawyer about that. And my lawyer thinks that I should get a separate engineer who will represent my interests on my land, because I do have some water in the back of my land. And, as right now, even with the heavy rains, we don't have water in the basement, but about 5, 6 years ago, we did have water in the basement, and we had to evacuate the water and get all the basement redone and everything. I don't want to have that situation again, because I'm in the healthcare field, and that's, not good for my patients. So, to avoid that, I would like some of the water that is logging in my back go into whatever, go into it, led into whatever culvert they are making. And also, I haven't yet spoken to the engineers. My lawyer just gave me a name of a couple of engineers. And I want them and Engineer Dillis to work together so that they can have that happen. And also I want to have an easement for draining the water that's coming off of this into the culvert that's going in. So that way in the future, I'm not going to have to deal with my neighbor, to do this and bother him again, to do anything that needs to be done. In the beginning, I did want Engineer Dillis to work with everything because I know he knows this best, but I didn't see the same amount of interest that was shown on my land that was being shown to Dr. McGee's land. So I just want to make sure that my interest is being covered by someone whom I would have confidence in.
There is another 4-inch pipe that's somewhere, into the south of the larger pipe that I remember seeing. You couldn't find it on the, site.
Behind the dentist's
Yeah,
office.
almost like foundation drain, and that was running, that was full, but that was last fall. And Terry and I
Yes.
saw it.
So where is this drain? Because I don't know about it.
I don't know, I don't remember exactly where it was,
So but if an engineer came.
your
and
engineer
saw
should be able
that-
to
Okay,
find it.
Even if there was an old building plan, that could have been just a perimeter drain around the building. To keep that water from building up and getting into the basement.
okay. And
Which
I,
would be beneficial for you to find and make sure there's no obstruction so that you don't run into a problem with any water backing up.
right,
So it would be good in your interest to take a good look
Right.
about the property to find out if you have any water problems, and everybody works together to try to move that in the right direction going down the hill.
right. And the other thing I want to make very clear is whatever, materials that we use from the suction, from the patients, is in no way being, vented to the outside.
Oh.
None of those ever go outside.
No,
We
don't
have
use
systems that are
septic.
kept in place to go into the septic. I just
Yes.
want to make sure none of it, whatever water is coming out, is not coming from within the office. None of it is
You
coming
have
from.
strict
Woodland Road.
guidelines you have to follow.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
that's-
The
groundwater.
health department would
Yeah.
frown upon all that.
No. Now, is that why you were referring to trying to put a Y, any Y pipe to reach out and draw any excess water that is accumulating into the culvert going down?
I mean, my point would be,
That would be,
it would only make sense to connect the two. Anytime you can keep this water that's already subsurface water,
in
keep it
control.
subsurface,
Is
it's
this,
everybody's best interest. You put that water back on the surface and that's how you end up with soil
You
migration.
got a little bit running.
I was told that, and I am older than you, but in the forties and fifties, there was a whole bunch of French drains installed in there. And they run parallel to 119, so that's what Jim's seeing where the water weeping out is probably where that swale interrupted, or they ran all
Probably
the French
is.
drains into that
And
swale. And
the amount of groundwater that
over
runs the
50 or
ledge.
60 years, they all vegetated, so the water came up under the ground, not on the surface.
And that's what was happening.
And that's what happened with the 12 inch, that's what was happening with the 12 inch pipe.
I'm just gonna, I threw up a map here. If you get, I mean, I can see it, but just to let you know how big this wetland is and how much groundwater is around here, you can sort of just follow that pretty obvious line here in the vegetation. So that's how wide sort of the headwaters of this thing is. So, I mean, I don't necessarily think by adding on more fingers of pipe, that's going to do much. I mean, there's a lot of water here. So, I mean, the point is not to drain the water. The point is just to sort of convey it in a better way. So yes, I think a pipe to help convey the stuff that is the most erosive is a good idea, but we can't be draining the wetland. So I think by burying the pipe and covering it with wetland soils to just sort of reestablish that swale and the natural contours of a swale is the best way to go. So there will be water still flowing down in a swale-ish U-type pattern, just from the groundwater, the surface flows. But then there will also be water conveyed through that pipe. But there's no one singular obvious source of hydrology when I look at this. I see a large area contributing.
We have Jonah Walkowitz and Linda Mack here from Rail Trail.
Question, well, a couple of questions, actually. As this going down, a year or two in the future, as that is revegetated, is the plans for the vegetation, or do you expect them to be at least as good at retaining and slowing the flow as the original vegetation, or better? And the second question is the detention basin, is that going to be large enough for big snow melt, 4-inch rain days to hold that kind of volume? And until it can percolate into the soil?
That's the goal, is to revegetate it to where it was before it was touched. So to have it revegetate with a wetland mix that'll take hold, and that basin, the water in the past all just came down there and didn't cause any trouble. So I'm just trying to restore that berm and the water that's always come down there. There's not gonna be any more water coming down there than there was before. So it'll just be in that field. That field will be wet in the spring, but it really shouldn't go anywhere.
It should be more usable though, but it is right now.
Thanks. So I would, speaking for the rail trail, I like the idea of having an enforcement, doing things under the enforcement order to get things done quickly. I think you can do almost everything under the enforcement order, and there's still a notice of
It's not right
intent.
here for you, Linda.
And there's still a notice of intent that's following all of this. So I would really like to see, especially, I like hearing that that you're starting down at the bottom by the rail trail, because we want to see that washed out. And then working your way up and doing as much as you can around the enforcement order, so it gets done. As soon as there's 3 days of dryness, let them go in and do what they need to do to restore that, because, and the notice of intent can be happening, but the enforcement order is the reason why,
That will fall.
It's just,
yeah.
right,
But I think Linda's, I concur with her. I think, as you said, Stanley, if we work under the enforcement, that's gonna be in our favor for some
Yeah.
expedience.
Yeah.
And right at the moment, with the way things are going, it's only getting worse and worse.
Yeah. So, and then I would say from the rail trail perspective, if, I think what you were saying, that, the hay bales be maintained. If we are getting these kinds of rain things we've been having, just have someone out there every day or two, putting up hay bales, making sure that nothing's getting, and you're down there anyways,
Well,
watching it. But I also.
we try to, this is the first time
Yeah.
that we've had the heavy rains that I haven't been able to even get out there, but
Yeah.
replacing the hay bales, not just adding more and adding more.
And I think what Jessica was saying is essential, that you're not redirecting water, you're restoring a wetland that was there. So you don't want to dry it up necessarily, but, I think her point is well taken, that needs to happen.
Well, conservation's always been about not draining the swamp. Keeping the water,
Yeah.
it's always been as I've been taught over the 15 years I've been on, it's always, we don't want to lose our water.
But if you do, there are ways that I think farmers in their fields dry up a field so they can use the field more.
We use
Which is-
magic and stuff like that.
Do all kinds of piping and stuff and stones and stuff. So it has to be something
But
like
even-
that, but
Then you're not completely drying out a field. There's,
no, you're just making it accessible, right?
yes,
So you can use it better. So it has to be a combination of both. And that's all I have to say.
I had one question for you, Dr. Thresh, there. Just so I'm clear on what I was hearing from you. You're not interested in connecting the pipe?
I can
No.
do that, whatever. I will do whatever needs to be done,
Okay,
whatever is best, I will do it. But I also want my interests safeguarded,
yeah,
that's all.
I get it.
I think that's a fair statement. And I feel that starting at the bottom, the enforcement will give her time to.
Yeah.
Get her engineer and everything, give her a moment to really get a good overview and make sure what you need is gonna work well for you.
Right.
So starting at the bottom is a good idea. I'm gonna go back to this, I'm circling around it. If you're gonna start at the bottom,
mhm.
get the culverts cleaned, get the silt removed, move right up, get those berms established, stop that water from going over there, so we're not gonna have to, it's a waste of time putting hay bales in there. If you-
I think you gotta do the berm first.
Correct.
And then clean out, and then
Correct.
clean out south of it.
Exactly, but if you're gonna start at the bottom,
Yeah.
get the whole area straightened out and addressed.
I should
And start
stabilize the
moving up.
bird.
It only
It's
makes
still,
sense.
right now, there's hay bales. At least the hay bales on the north side of the trail.
To,
They're just inundated with silt, or they're silted
They've gotta-
up. Yes,
they've gotta go.
I could, none of us could lift them,
take them out,
you
take
know.
the silt out, stop the water, get the berms in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but
Secure the rail trail to be.
we should have to go down there and say, hey, it's gonna rain, you're gonna put up hay bales.
If the berms are in and everything's cleaned,
Right.
I think
Go
Joe's
to the
point
next
is
step.
that in the interim while they're doing that, that needs to have some maintenance done to it. And that's a few hay bales, so if that's
You could
what needs
reduce,
to be done for
probably
maintenance
put a
while they're
third of the
doing it.
hay bales back.
Because,
That
you know,
are,
like Jim said, maybe it's gonna, if it rains for the next 2 weeks, he's not gonna get in there, so that,
Yeah.
there's some maintenance that needs to happen in the interim. That's I think what Jim is saying.
Yeah.
I
I know
Prevent
it,
it from-
you know where I'm coming from and you understand what, if we're gonna start the bottom and do it right.
It doesn't hurt to put the handbills in though. I mean, even if you're gonna work around all that, at least we know the water and silk is not gonna continue. Because it just soaks it up and, you know, you might as well just keep putting the fresh ones in.
Yeah,
as
every
you're
day,
doing
just go
things.
back down in there and put another fresh head bill in.
No, actually not. You know that's
I
not
get
the
it.
case. Those hay
No.
bills have been in there for almost, I'm not gonna say a year, but easily 6 months. And they lived a great life.
They,
Now it's time to be turned back into Mother Earth and, you know, put into a burn.
let's move on this.
I think I'm not gonna speak for Jessica's reaction, but I was kind of taken back with the letter that we received from National Heritage because I felt that they're working against what we're trying to do with protecting our wetlands. And
That's how it usually works.
And especially if
Yeah, but this
They have-
seems special.
They don't look at anything that way. They only look at it through their lens of the species. That's the same letter. I've done probably 30 of these things because everything I do in Groton has a date species on it. It's the same letter every time. Doesn't matter what the project is. So that they don't even, I don't even think they care what the project is. They just see the species. You're gonna have to do this. You're gonna have to have a turtle protection plan. You're gonna have to give us a written turtle protection plan. It's the same. They ask for the same thing all the time.
What?
I'm watching Jeff.
I know, I
Jeff's
said,
there.
I was so mad when I saw this letter, but everyone knows that by now.
I just,
there's no way to supersede what expectations of natural heritage have.
yeah, it's enforcement order, and
That's what
we
I'm
need to-
saying. We stay under the enforcement.
So, what,
Nobody.
I'm in the enforcement order, Jessica. How about what's your take on this? For Dr. McGee? As a moment, or,
I mean, I'm on board with it. The enforcement order, I opened that up and one of our orders was the issuing authority hereby orders the following. That we checked resource area alterations resulting from the activity, the vegetation clearing, shall be corrected and the resource areas returned to their original condition. So I think those berms, those two blow-throughs were done in the fall. So I think, yeah, I think at least the bottom half of this would be eligible to work under the enforcement order. I honestly, I don't know if that means we can supersede all endangered species stuff. I'd need to look into that more.
So for the interim, we amend it to include the basin.
So you're saying, would it be in our favor to broaden the enforcement area due to the increase of vigorous erosion
Covered it.
from A to B?
Did you catch that? Under that. for a
Yeah,
minute.
let me read our special conditions. Hang on.
Dr. McGee, Courtney, do you have anything you want to add? We want to work with you and
The only
the
thing
state kind of,
that I'm trying to add, solving our problem is gonna solve her problem. We want to both work together. That's gonna take care of any water that she's got there. It's gonna get taken, directed. That Jim is gonna take care of, and everybody's gonna be happy when it's done, the way that Stan and Jim has put it together. It's gonna solve the whole problem.
Sounds good to me. No, I really think that this is the right thing to do.
Especially working under the guidelines of the enforcement. I think they force the hand. I don't understand why National Heritage takes this type of attack when they see we're having enough time to get successful with this particular problem, to add on to us a seasonal condition to work and to have a species impact, turtle netting, on and on it goes.
monitoring this and that, just add.
Been there, done
project
that, and it's the same thing, like you said, you've seen it.
Mhm.
Every time you go to Groton, the first thing you're gonna deal with was an impact species study, which we're gonna get right to that. Well, we didn't see anything, but we think there could be something there.
You're talking right.
I know Groton, right, I get it, you know. Yeah, Groton's moving this way too slowly, but surely. It's weaving its way over.
Don't say that.
When we were in the field, yes, we went spots. One of the things I had was, you're gonna dig the basin, you're gonna form the berm right away, so that's good. What's the path to get to that area that is going to be the best?
I think they come down on the swale side of the paddock. That seemed to be fairly stable
That's
there.
the best, that's the most.
Yeah.
There's the paddock and then there's the
Right.
swale and then there's an area there that's usually.
That's when Jim's, he's
That-
going over
that's-
there, that's the way that they.
Because when we walked up the other side of that paddock, that was wet.
It was, yeah, it was real wide.
Yeah, so I think if there's that path that comes through on the upper side of the paddock between the shed,
Yeah, like.
and then you
next to
come
the
down.
paddock.
So you come,
Just to the side of the driveway. where we walked out.
you come through here and then down here, right, Courtney?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you go like between the little barn and the house. Yeah,
that's pretty hard, that was
Yeah.
hard around there.
Yeah, definitely.
So the only concern I have is not enough material on site to do the basin, which there is cut. And
Jimmy,
then,
what do you mean with not enough? That he may end up having to bring some
yeah, and
material in?
the only reason I'm concerned is, in and out, you're not getting a triaxle down there. And a loader in and out, you'll have that loader stuck
I
in
think when they,
bypass. it.
for the berm in the basin, I think when they excavate that berm, they're gonna take about out of the basin or signature.
And that's-
Say by about a foot, that's enough, that should be plenty to
Okay.
create the berm.
Draw. Okay, yeah.
May, what, after.
That's what
they-
I thought, I just wanted to, I
After
didn't know if
they
you
lay,
did the.
after they lay the pipe and everything, they may have to bring in some material to restore this.
So it's 20 feet wide.
Hopefully be when it's a little dry. And they can get in there.
Dry days are on the way.
But what's the height of the berm, Stan?
6 to 7.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what,
Height of the berm,
it's
roughly.
about 3 or 4 feet. It's not huge. It's 3 feet high.
It's a big enough area.
And then that area above it that's gonna get lowered. That's, there's a foot grade change there. So I think there should be enough material there. But they probably will have to bring in some material to restore the swale eventually.
Some of the wash down, yeah, there's no doubt, there's gonna be some material.
Yeah, because it's gone.
Because it ain't there, you know?
Yeah, this is pretty cut and dry. You bring an excavator down, you just do your work and be done.
And you can get an excavator in there. That should be relatively quick.
What would you bring in from a rubber truck, Manny?
350. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sticking my 360. Depends on what I have available. We may go with something like a 15-ton machine. Honestly, I've got to walk it again and get better eye on it. I mean, I've got a 5-ton machine.
It's gonna dictate to you what you're gonna be able to bring in when you get there.
We don't want to get too heavy and get find it.
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
Wider paths.
Right.
Is this gonna be hayed soon?
Yeah.
Find us some dry weather.
Yeah, and,
Absolutely.
yeah. because if we
That was
have
a
them-
trick question.
I know
Well, I'm trying to speak your language, guys. So
Okay. Needs like a week of like 90.
Oh gosh, no, don't ask for that, Courtney. No way. So, okay, so yeah, I guess just I don't know the timing on all this when it's all gonna happen, but just make sure that the wetlands remain flagged too. So obviously putting pin flags out right now, if they're just gonna get chopped up, is a bad idea, but
So Jessica's concerned when it gets mowed. All the,
We're not gonna take it.
I don't think we can even get over there.
Just mow right around that
Yeah.
boat.
well, you
Okay.
can't see it.
We'll see him.
I
We'll see him.
I'm not gonna say what I want to say, and I know, Jim, you know what I'm talking about, but you don't see stuff like that.
No.
A little brown furred, white polka dotted.
Yeah, that's the bad stuff.
mm,
But Jessica's concerned that after hanging, it gets re-flagged.
Try to leave the flag there.
I don't even, like,
I mean, it does not make sense to
Okay.
just stake them, stake the flags right now, put a 3-foot raise stick in, paint it west and orange, see you later.
Yep,
Then the guy, whoever's mowing,
We didn't do that.
mows around.
there you go.
Jessica is that.
yeah, that's fine. Something so you can see where the boundaries are. Yeah, so no more damage is done. That's fine.
Um,
Do you need a motion?
I don't know, because we have an open hearing. And we want to have this work done under the enforcement. So,
Just the berm, right? Just the
Yeah.
adding the berm. Okay.
right now,
So what I can do is amend the enforcement order and issue it on your behalf. And then we can just ratify it at the next meeting. And then that way, you know, we're not losing 2 or 3 weeks for that.
have to continue this anyhow, because we don't
Right.
have a DEP number, so.
Yeah.
Right now, we have the
We
enforcement.
don't have an EEP number.
no, but, so we're talking two different things though. So just
Enforcement. And
the hearing, so why don't we continue the hearing,
12.
end it, or, and this
just
discussion,
continue it, right?
continue the hearing
Okay.
until we have a DEP number. Because I don't want to say it's gonna be next time and not have one.
So that still holds us up to starting anything,
No,
right?
it doesn't.
We're gonna do it at the
Then,
end.
once we're continue the hearing,
All right,
then we will discuss the enforcement.
I'm good with everything.
So we need a motion to continue the hearing in a second.
To what date, the 12th,
That's the 12th.
Not
That's- That is 2 weeks from now.
July 12th?
July 12th is your next meeting.
Yep. Motion to continue the meeting of 158 Main Street, TWB 2023-150 to the 12th of July meeting.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote.
Pat Jamal, yes.
Colby Streeter, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Jim Doran, yes.
Okay.
So now we can move forward with this.
So let's,
Do the work. Let's see what Mother Nature does to us.
Great, thank you.
Jessica, do we have to say anything else? Or just everything that was discussed? I hope up all the audio.
I'm not rewatching this. Yeah, no, I think I got it. I'll just add a new attachment to the enforcement order. Sign it, send it via certified mail, just because we have to. Terry to you in Pepperell, and then I'll email it to Courtney as well and Stan. And then we just ratify it at the next meeting.
So we can ratify it at the 12th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The conservation agent can issue it on you guys' behalf.
Okay, that's what all right.
Yep.
That's good. That's in our
So
favor.
we want to see whatever you can on the plan in terms of, you know, replace the hay bales, put the right amount in using best management practices, settle that, and then get this soil built and vegetated
Is that gonna be, I assume,
For the
the first thing, you're gonna have Jim get that swale in, just cease and desist any more damage for the other side going to the rail trail?
Yeah.
And once the berms are in, really clean culverts and you get the rest of that sediment out of there.
Yeah.
This is going too good to be true.
Yeah, the sediment and the hay bales is, the sediment removal and the hay bales placement is already ongoing in the existing enforcement order. So we would just add in the restoration of the 2 berm areas mainly.
With the, per the plan, with vegetation or the trees.
Okay.
And did you have a planting schedule on that too?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, what do you got, mass, wetland plants? Yeah, mass wetland plants.
Doing what?
Wetland plants. A long day, a long week.
You have like alders and dogwoods, don't you?
And a chokeberry too.
What that?
A chokeberry, red chokeberry.
Yeah.
Aronia,
Chokeberry.
arborvitae.
Okay.
No, blueberry
It's-
plants.
it's-
They're all readily available. And they're all,
There's 3 to 4 in their replacement plants, so.
right,
Yeah, just get it done. I know it's gonna rain. We all know it's gonna rain, but if you have to, you're only gonna bring a machine down. You only have to go in, you only have to go out.
the deluge is not working.
It is what it is. We're farmers, we work around it. Except when it comes to hanging.
Do you have an idea, Jim, of when you think?
No, what that?
What? Oh, it's clearing out tonight.
It's gonna be,
So we can walk it tomorrow if you want. All right.
My, chest waders.
Just please let Matt and Jessica, so Jessica's moving into a different position the beginning of next week. Matt's going to take over her position and combine the positions. Just let her know, or Matt know, or even me know when, yeah, give us a couple days. And we'll pop by, probably just say hi, but
Yeah, I don't have a problem if you wanna give me a buzz. I'll run down and see, you know, what's
we
going
ain't
on.
running anywhere.
Uh,
You're not running anywhere.
I
you might
got,
bring the coffee though.
I'm getting scheduled in for 2 new ones.
At the same time,
Yeah,
well, my wife just did.
Are you
one.
okay with what we talked about
The
and,
recovery is not fun.
talking,
Might get both
okay,
at
side
once.
conversation, I'm sorry.
I can't stand this. And, no, my knees.
Yeah, you're hearing too.
So, it is,
That's
that's
why
how
we
we
record it.
just,
So you'll talk to an engineer.
Yes, and as soon as my engineer takes a look and everything, we can start work on my land, you know, I will give.
There might need to be a permit involved, but there might need to be a permit involved because of the proximity of the wetlands. He'll know all about that and
Okay.
he can call our office with
So
questions.
once they both talk and we have my side of the
You'll
thing,
probably end up having to come in front of us again.
that's fine.
It's just part of the process.
July 12th, I plan to be here. So I will talk to him and once they can talk and then we can go ahead with, you know, whatever pipe engineer Douglas needs to deal with. But I want it all done in one time.
That's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
and we really thank you
Makes
for
sense.
coming in. It is.
Oh,
It's a
absolutely.
great amount
Just
of help
agreeing.
to everybody. That's.
No, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's,
Like, you take time out of your day and, you know, it's.
you guys take time out of your day. You're all volunteers.
Yes.
So, you know, thank you
Who's
for
the
doing
hearing?
all that.
We continued it.
Oh, we did already?
Quite a few.
Sorry.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time.
See you, Jimmy.
How'd I miss it? Can I take 1 minute to go, please go?
You need me, go right ahead, man.
Good.
Probably take a whole world, no way. 27% of the population of James.
Oh, we have to run to the bathroom, so we're taking a little break. You okay with that, Jessica? We didn't inundate you, Matt? You kept up with that?
I just like have a sentence to write, so I'm good. Yeah. So I'll do that Friday.
Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering what is covered, like what can we do under the enforcement order? And I just got to look more into that.
We'll back into it as we find.
Yeah,
We can talk about it on Friday,
Yeah.
Matt. Yeah.
sounds good.
Maybe I'll come bug you guys. No, I think I have the day off. You put the file in here.
That went well.
I agree.
Other than me babbling a little too much once in a while, but I'm trying to work on that. It's not easy. And it was very gracious of her to come in and it just worked out. I think that worked out very, very well. I think Mr. McGee was on his best behavior, which worked out well.
We'll keep you
So just-
informed.
For those listening, Doug Smith, you're up next for 31 Elm, and then Alan is on deck after that for 187 Wallace. So we'll try to bust through these.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your patience.
I'm so tired. So let's do this.
Yeah,
And I guarantee you, my child is going to be freaking out in about 20 minutes if I'm not upstairs. So we got this.
Can you video any of that so you can kind of bring back memories for me? please?
Oh, you
Yeah.
might hear it.
Oh,
So
that's-
you've probably already seen a little head bopping on the side.
Little girl, how old?
Oh, I have a son. He's 3. And then I have a baby, a daughter. She's 4 months old.
You gotta love the little minute, 2.5 terribles.
All right,
Oh.
cool meeting. Yep. Thank you everyone for your patience.
Thank you.
Moving on, 3.1, request for determination of applicability 31 Elm Circle TWE 2023-151. The proposed project is for a septic system replacement. Part of this work will take place within 200 feet of the Squanicook River. Doug Smith is here to represent this project. Hey Doug.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good. So, the proposed septic system is 162 feet from the Squanicook River, and that's why this determination of applicability was put together. We had the site walk last week, and I did stake out the septic system and the wattles, so the contractor can put those in at the very beginning of the project, and you'll have the staked area to go by. It's a replacement septic for a very old house, and I didn't have a choice of going on the other side of the house because of how the pipe comes out, and it's one of those old foundations that is all big blocks of granite where it's very difficult to try to drill through. So, and there's a water line and gas line on the other side also. So, and it's much better than the system that's there now, which would be about 30 feet closer to the river and failed. So that's,
Okay, all right, this way, all right.
are there any questions that anyone wants to ask from the commission?
It's pretty straightforward.
Yes.
Pat, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Colby,
I do not.
Jim,
Standard moving forward.
Matt, Jessica? So what's your recommendation, Jessica?
I already printed it for you guys to sign. So -3, I don't think I had any special conditions, or if I did, it was just to put those wattles up. So
That's good. Good job.
that's it.
All right, so we need a motion, to approve this, for the -3 determination. And again, I have the forms here for us to sign at the end.
It's a 3.
-3.
Yeah.
A motion to approve the septic system for 31 Elm Circle at TW be 2023-151 with a negative determination of -3.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Pat Jamal, yes?
Colby Streeter, yes.
James Gates, yes?
Jim Doran, yes.
Thank you, Doug.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank
You
you too.
Thanks.
3.2, request for determination of applicability, 187 Wallace Hill Road, TWB, number 2023-152. The proposed project is for the installation of an above-ground pool. This work will take place within 100 feet of a bordering vegetated wetland. Alan, this is your project, correct? Jessica, you wanted to talk? He probably fell asleep listening to this.
Well, I think he's at like a soccer game or hockey game or something. So,
No, I got rained out.
oh, there you are.
I
Okay.
thought you guys muted me. I didn't know I muted myself.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I know what a berm is now though. I Googled it because I had no idea what you got. I'm like, man, they keep saying this word and I don't know what it means.
You got some exciting stuff tonight.
I learned a new word.
All right.
So I'm sorry, sir. I didn't hear you. Oh, look at my wonderful drawing.
I'm not necessarily
Yeah.
he's my dad.
Yeah,
Very
so above ground pool going in near a bordering vegetated wetland, probably like 40 or 50 feet away. So there is like a slight slope going downhill from the pool toward the wetland. Obviously, that's where water goes. So I'd probably just recommend putting some sort of erosion barrier of your choosing. Probably right along the wetland and outside of the fence, assuming access will go through that way. And I completely forgot to take pictures. So sorry, everybody.
Oh, pictures.
No pictures. But here, I can pull it up on Math Mapper. Hold on. All right. All right, cool. So here we are. Currently there is a trampoline here. So that trampoline will be replaced with a pool. And then you can just sort of see here in the back, there's a wetland right here. So,
You guys took this one. The fence guy screwed up my fence.
now you have proof.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so I think the plan for access is to have the whatever come back down here through the south of the fence and then tuck in around. So just probably put some wattles or something, to prevent any, whatever dirt gets loosened up from that until everything's stabilized.
Okay. Define waddle.
I can explain that after, but
Cool.
commission, it's on the commission to decide if they want those or not, but.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Sorry.
I hope she didn't hear us.
No.
Are you
no,
talking about? No, Alan, they're making fun of me because until like a couple weeks ago, I thought you spelled straw waddle like how a duck waddles, but it's actually two T's.
Ah.
So
Whoa.
there goes 32 years of embarrassment.
Right, telling that story.
Is that like a sideburn or a sideburn? Oh, yeah, okay. Oh,
Gosh.
Oh, this is good. Does he know what a waddle is? Did he?
I'll explain it if that's what you guys want to implement. I will explain it to him. Or have him Google it, you know.
Yeah, I Googled berm. I mean, I can, but see, I would have spelled it with two D's too. I've been like, they want me to, what do they want me to put a duck suit on and walk back there while the guy's coming back there?
Mhm.
We have requested it at a few meetings, but yeah. Now, are the kids gonna be able to keep the trampoline and the pool?
No, well, my kids are old enough. I think that the plan is the trampoline's going to be be gifted to my nephew.
All right, I just could see a lot of fun with a trampoline next to a pool doing some, you know.
Yeah, yeah. That means me getting a lot of hospital bills.
Exactly.
All right, so for this one, yeah, so it's about 50 feet away. So
And there
I just,
there was discussion about putting soil on top of the roots in the corner also, while we were on site, which I don't see a problem with, as long as we have.
but I think that's outside of this RDA. It was gonna be that and like a bridge. So we're just gonna do that separately,
Okay.
right? I thought that's what we said.
Yeah, I'll so if I do decide to do the bridge, Jessica, I just need to email you, right? And
Yeah, you can just contact me and then we'll
Okay.
talk about it
Because-
then. Yeah, that's fine.
when I was back there this week, but that little patch that I go through over my mower to do my grass, I was like, if I did put that bridge up, I would be able to put that dirt down where those roots are, and I wouldn't have to obviously drive over it ever again because I'd have the bridge across the vegetation there.
Hmm. All right, so yeah, so we'll just focus on the pool for today, and then whenever you're ready to move forward on the next stuff, just let us know and we can tackle it at that point.
Good point.
Yeah, so for you guys, I think I recommended a -3 determination, and then I assume you're amenable to some sort of erosion barrier or something, siltation barrier, as discussed.
Silt fence or
It's an
wall
above ground pool, so he's really.
to get the machine around though. Because that's where the double gate is.
Yeah, yeah.
So instead of having a fence guy he's mad at, come and take a panel out. All right, do we have any questions?
No.
Good pool, pool. Let's get it in the water.
Need a motion with a -3 determination and a second, please.
With the special condition of the wattles too, right?
Wattle or silt fence.
Yep.
I hate marrying stuff to. He wants to put up the silt fence. Please just take a picture of it and send it to the agent.
I will. No, I'm just like silt fence is just like, I don't know. It causes a little more destruction to install it, I feel like, than wattles, but
Okay, wattle, do wattle.
Yeah, stick in there quick.
But you still gotta make sure you put the wattle down
Yeah.
3 inches.
Ready?
Yes, we're done. We're done. Bantering.
All right, motion to approve the application for 187 Wallace Hill Road for an above-ground pool with the addition of erosion control
With a -3.
with a negative determination of -3. TWB number 2023-152.
Yes. Second that,
Thank you.
Roll call vote, please.
Pat Jamal, yes.
Colby Streeter, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Yes, James Dorn.
all right. So Alan, I'll reach out to you in the next couple days with more follow-up and what all this stuff means actually. But
Perfect.
yep. Figure that'll
Awesome.
help. Everyone wants to get off, so we'll move along.
No problem. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.
Enjoy.
We love our group banter.
I think it's anyone else.
3.3, letter of support for the 2023 Open Space and Rec Plan. Has anyone here read it or listened to the presentation? You were the,
I read it before all the approvals,
okay,
not the second run of it. But yes,
as a Conservation Commission, do we approve or do we support the plan?
Support.
yes.
Unconditionally, like our children.
I won't go that far.
Let me see the money.
What?
No, I'm just looking at what they have for the annexes here.
So we need just a motion to approve, Matt, Jessica, am I even supposed to, should one of you guys sign this? Because, I am on Open Space and Rec.
Oh,
So is-
You should
I
probably-
just put you to represent the commission, but I probably should have just put myself. I had myself at first and then changed it to you.
Right.
Yeah, there's no conflict if you would assign it, even if you are on record.
Perfect.
Well,
Yeah,
you're just,
yeah.
yeah, you're just like a, yeah, I think you're fine.
Just a representative in a different position.
We've gone this far tonight. We might as well just do it.
Yeah,
I can just rewrite it on Friday and sign it myself. That's fine if you want to do that. Clearly, I put a lot of time into writing that letter, a whole sentence. So
nice job, team player.
Signed. Okay, but do we have a motion in a second?
We need a motion in a second, please.
We probably should.
Okay. Motion to support the letter for the 2023 Open Space and Recreation Plan with a determination of nothing.
I'll second that.
Okay,
Roll call vote, please.
Pat Jamal, yes?
Colby Streeter, yes.
James Gates, yes.
Jim, yes,
Look. See?
and you just had that meeting and you text me, right?
Yeah, I did.
All right, gotcha. Roger that, okay. We'll go through Adorn.
Yeah, man.
All right, moving on. MACC delineation of bordering vegetative wetlands and inland wetland replacement workshop 7/12. I don't have it up, but is that online or in person?
online. Hold on. Yes, it's 11 a.m. It's a lunch and learn, but it's virtual, so you provide your own lunch. It says it's 11 to 12:30, and it's a free webinar. So
For the retired folks, huh?
Wow. What's with the jab to the retired people?
if you want to make it a powwow, although a quorum would be hard, but we could all do a little team lunch and listen together at town hall. If you guys want, I'll be there.
I might think about doing something. I gotta get a little bit more involved. Yes.
It's probably going to be really technical because it's like actually the manual how you delineate wetlands. So
Supposed to mean.
Oh, yeah.
What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just warning you. Like if you're thinking you're just never mind. Whatever.
Are you seeing
It's
that?
too late to argue.
You have to be real
No,
smart.
we've had later.
Yeah, is the ice cream factory closed, John?
No, they close at 10 now.
Okay, because I'm just,
We'll go.
I just want to make sure everyone knows I'm focused on
Well, it's a lunch and learn. So yep,
All right.
you're on board.
All right.
Ciro and Nero presentation on the municipal vulnerability preparedness program 7/13. What's that about? I know, but I don't.
Like somebody's
on.
gonna. from the town, but-
We're lucky to have some of the municipal vulnerability preparedness regional coordinators. They're going to tell us about how the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program can work with conservation commissions and offices on projects that promote resilience and sustainability in your community.
So this is like responding to floods and whatnot? Is that the idea? Okay.
I don't really know. It's a really broad description.
Locust.
That was just the first example.
There's just gonna be a ton of things that Mother Nature's gonna throw at us in the near future.
Meteors. Yeah.
Volcanoes, yeah.
It's just,
Ooh, the volcanoes.
yes. Yes.
Yeah. Fire makes everything better.
I do have a fear of the super volcano in Yellowstone, but
No, but you could.
Yeah.
Okay. Squanicook River Regional Stewardship.
charrette.
Charette.
I know, is that the?
So what's this charrette?
Who is Charette?
You were gonna go to it. It's French.
Okay, what is the stewardship? Charette?
Correct.
Is there not an email in the folder you can read? I have to find it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's in the education folder and on the OneDrive.
Yeah, it's something about, different environmental organizations in the Squanicook River region on how we can sort of promote land stewardship and everyone who has common goals for protection of the river and riparian corridors.
Maybe I could say it.
What's that? The riparian?
No, I'm not gonna, no, not yet.
Out of the Squanicook River.
So what's a charrette? Like, are they gonna feed you or dancing?
There is a lunch, I believe.
Ooh,
Yep. They have the agenda. So they do provide the lunch.
Now, where do they have this down at the,
do you know who's catering it?
We have a menu?
Fortunately, I do not know that.
That's hungry. We need to finish it.
okay.
Keep going.
But is any of you interested in going? Because they sent out a few emails. They really want one or two of us to go. So
I'm gonna go for land use stuff. So
and if
I'll
none
take
of
a
you can
buddy.
go, I can go as well. If none of you can go.
It's the
What time?
14th. It's a
Where is it
Thursday.
going to be? In,
It's 9 to 1, and I think it's at the Groton NWRA or whatever
Yeah, and-
headquarters.
Yeah, NRWA River
Oh.
Resource Center, which is 592 Main Street in Groton.
okay, all right.
Just across the bridge.
Just.
So technically, only like a couple of us are invited, so you guys can't all go.
Oh, I
but-
didn't know.
Really?
That's what it says. It says we encourage 1 to 2 members of your organization.
Oh,
They just don't want to pay for
Jessica,
lunch.
That's- Did you hear Pat? Did you hear Pat?
That's how I plan my parties too. So
But your
yeah.
land use though, that's separate.
Well, I think it's a stewarding opportunity. So,
Okay. I'm not done.
but
So
if 2 of you are dying to go, I can
No.
cough up my seat. That's fine.
I'm fine, I'm good.
It's yours.
I
Woo!
think I'm stuck somewhere, so. Colby's looking at his calendar, it looks wide open.
That's
13.
that's a vacation.
They've got to come to a determination today. Just let me know in the next week or so.
It's actually a nice facility down there. It isn't bad to go down there for classes. See Karen Chapman, say hi, stuff like that.
Al Fetterman retired a week or 2 ago.
Karen did.
FYI.
She did. I did not know. I usually see her when it's Galaxy drops them off, but
I think it's a man.
she's been there, what, 8 or 9 years? So,
Next.
Jimmy has his hand in everything.
it's not. I don't think it's good. Everybody should like garlic. I met somebody today, she just, oh no, I hate it. And I said, well, don't come into my house. I don't want to talk to you. So,
items for discussion at, the next meeting, obviously 158 Main Street. You have other stuff on the docket. There is a site walk next Thursday. For,
Thursday at 10:30.
at 66 Bayberry.
Yep, 66 Bayberry Hill.
I can't go to it. We need to have bodies there, please.
I will try. What date is
Sorry,
that?
what day?
Thursday next week at 10:30. I think that's what day is that?
The 6th.
What is
The
6th?
6th.
Is that a new, what is it?
Uh,
Straightforward issue? What are we looking at?
Brett King bought a lot or a house with a acreage and he's subdividing it.
Yeah, there's a lot going on at this one, actually. So,
Matt, can you make sure that there's a 7/12 meeting materials folder and upload all the stuff to it so that they're ready
And
before the
Of course.
site visit?
I can do that on Friday.
down from Brett's house, going downhill
Yes, on the other side of the road.
on the opposite side from the, okay. How many acres is it? Do you know what the size is, Jessica? It's gotta be over 6. then?
I mean, it's a shared driveway up to 2 single-family homes.
It'd be 6 acres at least.
Right, it's, what is a standard 3 acre in Townsend to build on now?
I think it depends on where you are.
Right,
And water doesn't count.
doesn't, okay, I'll be there, Bayberry Hill, 66. And what time was that again, Matt?
Matt, just call Jimmy Thursday morning.
No, I got it.
10:30.
Yeah, 10:30. But yeah, I can give you a call if need be.
I
don't mind.
drive to New York, but I will call her in
I'm
line.
starting my formal computer classes soon. He has, got a brand new gateway. It's all plugged in, ready to go. I know how to turn it on. It's got an on and off switch, a mouse, everything. It's looking real good.
Wow.
Wow, whoa.
You got that kitchen sink there.
It's like, I've just now learned how to put people's phone numbers in my smarty phone, so might as well get a computer now.
So our next meeting is Wednesday, July 12th, 2023, 7 PM, Board of Select Chambers, second floor. This meeting will also be held via virtual Zoom remote in accordance with COVID-19 safe meeting guidelines. Before we adjourn, the end of this week, Jessica is moving up, or at the beginning of next week, Jessica is moving up to land use. Matt is stepping up to fill her shoes. Speech that you.
No, I'm a name drop guy.
Oh, well, okay. Way to take the wind out of the sails.
Keep going. You're doing great.
Just keep.
So Matt's stepping up. He's gonna have big shoes to fill. I want to thank Jessica for everything she has done for our commission and getting us to where we are today. It's, yeah. We're lucky to have her and be lucky to have her continue with the town.
I second that.
Matt, you stepped up when Jessica was out on maternity leave, and we appreciate everything you've done also, and we are excited to have you step up into that position.
Thank you. I'm excited myself.
Thank you. Thank you, Jessica and Matt.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
She'll be here. She still has to babysit us.
I know. I'll still,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm only moving like 10 feet, so don't worry.
Say, it's not like she's moving down the hall up the stairs or anything. She's in the neighborhood still, so
I
And
am.
we're lucky
Yep.
that she's
Still be working close.
that's actually very beneficial. That works out real well.
So as in any time, there will be an adjustment period. We just all need to stick together and make sure that we continue with what we have. I will note that Ann was not reappointed. The last week at the Board of Select meeting, Kevin was. I do not know the reasoning behind Ann not being reappointed.
The selectmen decided not to reappoint Ann.
Yes, after our unanimous recommendation. So
In other words, the selectmen can go against our decision when we want to bring somebody on. And we need the member, and she's been really loyal and here. This member, so we need to sit down with the selectmen and have a chat.
I've tried that when stuff like that's happened.
I don't have a problem doing that.
I don't
I
either. I'm gonna miss her. I mean, I really like her being here. She's very knowledgeable.
kind
It's
of
up
find that,
to, if individual commissioners want to reach out. I'm not, you're free citizens there. I am. I
I
am
guess my,
disappointed that they didn't follow our recommendation.
will that, along with, wouldn't it be prudent for them to at least speak to the chairman as to maybe what their reluctance to it would be? Okay, let's.
Okay.
That's a shame. So the reason why she's not here, because she wasn't brought back.
Well, she had the right to be at this meeting. Unfortunately, she decided not to.
I
wish that she
don't blame
was
her.
here, because I do want to thank Ann for her years of volunteering.
Sure.
And the countless hours that she has put into the conservation, and it, you know, I want to wish her the best. She like,
5? At least 4 or 5 years now.
she was at every meeting she could make, and every site walk too, so it's unfortunate. I wish I could tell you why, so.
I would have spoken to Joe when I saw him up at Kevin's. I'm still gonna, I'll see him tomorrow. That's a shame. I didn't know that.
Yeah, don't go running off, you gotta sign stuff. Do we have anything else, anyone?
Thank you, Jessica.
Just thank you, Ann, as well, if you are listening. Thank you, Ann.
We only have 3 meetings I went to. She was here. The best.
Jessica, Matt, do you have anything to add?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope, just
Just
Wish
don't
Ann
leave without signing those
best.
documents.
Again, everyone out there, I apologize. Pat's throwing stuff at me, she's done.
No, it's not ready to sign.
So we need motion.
It sounds like it's still pretty quiet there. You said there was gonna be a meltdown in about 20 minutes. Seems like everything's okay.
I'm watching him. He's asleep, I think. So we'll see.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second that.
So roll call vote, please.
Patrick Elias?
Colby Streeter, yes.
James Gates, yes. Jenny?
Ryan, yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you, team.